Good afternoon or good evening or good morning, depending on when you are watching this. Maybe you were sitting around, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you can't sleep, you have insomnia, and you thought, wow, I wonder if the newest episode of One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer is on. And lo and behold, here we are. So sorry, dude, you're up late, or sorry, ma'am, that you're up late. I struggle with insomnia sometimes myself. I know where you're at, but nothing can put you to sleep like a good episode of One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer. And I want to remind you all to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. You can contact us through one card, one cub, one beer at gmail.com. Please subscribe to our page, be one of our Patreons who support us so we can do some great and fantastic things like maybe go to the moon, like maybe go under the sea, or maybe just buy a few things, do some advertising. I don't know, something. But anyway, please support us through Patreon. And remember, you can like our or subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the icon at the bottom right-hand corner. Did anybody win the trivia?
No, we had 10 guesses. People were so close.
Can I do another question? Can I do another hint? The final
Please,
hint.
please.
Okay, because I've been
Yes.
thinking about this.
Sixth hint, everyone. Here's the sixth hint.
Tell everybody the previous hints that you've given.
All right. The previous hints are it's a Cardinal hitter of note. An average fan would know this name if they heard it. The player played with the Cardinals between 1970 and 2000. So somewhere in there, this player played. An outfielder of note, and he played on one of the World Series teams in the 1980s. And that's the hints we have so far.
And the final hint is this: you never heard one of his interviews. And if that doesn't give it away, I don't know what will.
Yes.
So,
and you're playing for the 2014 Michael Walker bobblehead. You know, I'm
yes.
a bobblehead freak. This is a good bobblehead right here.
Hey,
Retails
man,
about $40, I'd say.
Walker had a good outing the other day.
Oh, yeah.
10 strikeouts. Yeah, I said, I wish the Cubs would pick him up. They didn't. But anyway, kudos to Michael Walker. Such great stuff. He's had so many obstacles to overcome in his career, and hopefully, he had a good year last year. Still had a little injury problem, but hopefully this year he'll be a major contributor. We had our first, and I shouldn't say our. We had a road trip that one of our members took, and JJ and Brody, they went to Milwaukee. JJ, how was your trip?
We had a fantastic time. I recommend this trip to all of our listeners, all the Cardinals, all the Cubs, and all the beer drinkers. Lots of beer up there in Milwaukee. Fantastic. This stadium is great. It's a good place to go because they can't have a rain out. It's like a retractable roof. If it's a really cold day, when we left here, it was 65 degrees. We got up there, we could see our breath. It was 38 degrees in April, which is not that uncommon up there. But the game cannot be rained out. So a lot of people plan baseball trips around Milwaukee. Great fans. First of all, the parking. If you've ever been to Kansas City, it's really easy parking. It's just a big parking lot around the stadium. And I saw a sign, Vince. This may hurt a little. It said weekends and Cub games, $40 to park. They jack up the prices when the Cubs come in. Yeah, what the heck, man? And I asked the fans, what
persecute us.
They persecute the Cubs. They love to stick it to the Cubs. Now, they like to beat the Cardinals too, but it means a little extra with the Cubs because I think a lot of Cub fans travel up there.
How much was parking for just a normal game?
20
for your game. What?
20. Yeah.
So the Cubs are worth twice as much as you.
That's they unless it's a weekend, then we're all the same.
Yeah, but we're special.
Now, these people know how to do it. It's like a football game. They get out there about 4 hours before the game and they're tailgating. They've got speakers with the Brewer emblems on it and playing games out there. The one with the thing where you're playing the sandbags through the little hole on the ramp. They're out there, they're barbecuing. Oh, it smells fantastic. It's just a big party out there. and I talked to 20 Cub fans about who they dislike more. I said, I know you don't like us.
You meant Brewer fans.
Brewer fans. Yeah, what did I
You said
say?
Cub fans. You
Oh,
said
Cub
Cub
fans.
fans.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. So I asked the Brewer fans, who do you dislike more? Cardinals? And I said, please, you can't hurt my feelings. I understand if it's us or Cubs. And they said, oh, every single one of them, 100% of them, Cubs. They said, oh. I said, why? And they said, well, they're loud. They just love to rub anything in our face. And they said the Cardinals are very respectful. The fans are very respectful. So Vince, I'm telling you, that's what they said. I'm not making any of this up. So that was one of the things right there. And they're very polite and nice. And I mentioned the tailgating. I saw a lot of jerseys. You mentioned one of the things you liked about St. Louis fans is you go to the ballpark and you see all these jerseys. The players nowadays, you see a lot of let's see, who was it? Willie Adamas, the shortstop. That kid, I become a fan. That kid is a great player. Matter of fact, on their scorecard, this is what their scorecards look like.
Wow.
It's commemorating him and Robin Yount. They both hit 31 home runs as a shortstop, and that's the Brewer record. So anyway, I think their scorecards look pretty cool. Kind of
Looks
got
nice.
like a Norman Rockwell kind of look to it. And the other one is Yelich. And the guy behind me said he got his at a yard sale for $10, his Yelich jersey. But I did see a lot of Paul Montours, Robin Younts, Gorman Thomas, and Ryan Braun. Saw a lot of Ryan Braun jerseys out there. A lot of a lot of Cardinal fans were there. Now, Saturday, they had a special giveaway. And I got there me and Brody got there 3 hours early. We thought, oh, we'll get there early. We won't have a problem. But up there in Milwaukee, their Milwaukee Bucks are hugely popular. And I've got this jersey here. This was the giveaway, and it was sold out. And everybody wanted this Brew Crew jersey. And Vince, watch me mess this name up. Giannis Altaka Manuku. I can't say it.
Greek freak.
The Greek Freak. Yes. So we did get one of those, and people were offering us $40 to buy them, but I thought, hey, that's a great souvenir. We'll go ahead and keep that. They have what is great is they have a certain temperature. They'll close the roof. If it's nice outside, they open it. They let you know well in advance. They let you take things into the ballpark as long as it's a clear bag, a plastic bottle that's not been opened, or any bag of like chips or candy that's not been opened. You can take it into ballpark. They'll look in there and make sure everything's okay. Very good about that. I like that because, the ballpark prices are pretty steep. Let's see. So, their mascot. Okay, you guys got the Cub. We got the Fred Bird, and they've got this Bernie guy that lives in a chateau in left field. He kind of looks like a barbershop quartet guy with a big yellow mustache. Slides down the slide when they hit a home run. They got fireworks going off in there. That's pretty cool. I wanted to take a tour of the ballpark on Monday, but they have a big concert coming up, and they were fixing the stadium up for the concert, so they weren't giving any tours. So I didn't get to take a tour because I wanted to go up there and slide down the slide. If it had, oh, go ahead, Vince.
Remember in the old park they had the slide, and he went down into a giant beer stein.
No beer.
They don't do that anymore because they thought it promoted alcoholism or drinking or something.
Well, they got beer signs there.
Milwaukee Brewers.
I know. I don't know. Maybe there's a few kids that say, well, Bernie says don't do it. So when they come out, especially when the roof is on, Saturday's game with the roof was on. Sunday the roof was open for the 1:15 afternoon game. It was beautiful. It was about 68 degrees. The sun, and if you ever get tickets, get them on the right side of the field because the left side gets the sunlight right on them. The right side is in the shade. It was great. We were 16 rows behind home plate. Just great. I think the park just looks better with it open. Like I said, there's fireworks. Bernie sliding down the slide. Now, what they have to eat up there. They got some different little treats up there. They always brag. I got a brat with because they're big on their brats and their sauerkraut. And they want to know this was made here. This is fresh sauerkraut. Do you like the sauerkraut? Huh? Do you like it? So they were just going crazy about their sauerkraut. But anyway, they got cheese curds up there with like ranch dressing. You can dip them in. Really, really good. Any kind of cheese or dairy products or frozen custard, fantastic. When the Brewers hit a home run, the Green Bay Packer fans, they got that cheese head thing. They put it on and they go down the dugout. Everybody pats them on the back. So that's kind of a thing they do. And they have sausage and bacon omelets at the ballpark. I never heard of anybody having omelets at the ballpark. So anyway, the ballpark's been there since 2001. Let's see. Oh, there's a thing in the ballpark called you're going to make a joke about this, the Bud Selig experience. It's free to go into. It talks about running out of players and calling it a tie, I guess is what it does. But it talks about keeping baseball in Milwaukee and the history of baseball in the city of Milwaukee. And I did not get to go to that. I didn't know my way around the ballpark too much. I thought I'd see it during the tour, and we didn't get a tour.
You said you did not get to go to that, or you did not have to go to that?
I didn't have to go to it.
Okay, there you go.
Yes. But I saw a video on YouTube about it. It looked pretty interesting. I guess if you had nothing else to do, you were heavily sedated, you could sit in there for a while and let your medication wear off. So anyway, I got a few goodies at the ballpark. You know me, I got the pocket schedule, got Corbin Burns on it, one of their big stars who may not be there after this year. Bunch of stickers, Brew Crew and all that on there, and a couple patches. I got the Old County Stadium. There we go, that patch. Yeah. And one with Wisconsin and the old M on there. I love their new emblem with the baseball mitt with the ball in it. It looks like the M and a B. Love that. So I recommend everybody going up there. The tickets are priced reasonable, and it's a good time. And I'll tell you what, if anything's going on, usually, it holds, I believe, 42,000, and usually there's about 32,000 in it. So there's always a seat to be had if you go up there. So that's my quick report.
I sent JJ, and I actually called him on Saturday,
and
JJ says, "I might be a wanted man." Tell us of this crime spree that you went on your trip to Milwaukee.
I had the GPS on. I'm watching the roads. All the signs are everywhere. And the first thing, they have toll roads up there. And I'm used to the ones in Florida where the toll booths are all the way across. Well, I was driving and all of a sudden it said authorized vehicles. And I thought, are we authorized? Are we unauthorized? Which is it? Well, by the time we were already past it, apparently we were an authorized vehicle. We were supposed to pay our toll. So I went on that toll road twice and haven't paid anything yet. That's right. Joe Biden, come after me, baby. No, I'm paying. You can do it online. You can do it online. So that's what I'm going to do. But I didn't know where to pull over or stop or anything. And the other thing was, they have here in Missouri, when you come to a red light, as long as it's clear, you can make a right turn. Well, not in Milwaukee. I was a car length turned and it said no turns on red light. So this may be my last show, or I'll be doing it in pinstripes next week.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
No excuse.
Those of you who do have a clean criminal record, if you would like to audition for the replacement of JJ, send me a tape. Just stand in front of a microphone and say the Cardinals are awesome, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Anyway, I'm shaving the mustache. I'm going incognito. I'm gonna shave the mustache, and maybe color my sideburns. Well,
you better.
They won't know who I am.
Yeah, I get a rainbow wig or something.
Oh man.
Okay, and JJ and Brody, they documented their experience, and we have right now the world premiere of the video, On the Road with JJ and Brody.
This is JJ
here recording for One Cardinal, One Cub, One Beer. We're right here at American Family Field, ready to see the Cardinals take on the Brewers. Let's do it! Whoa, they get into their intro. Brody, here we are. 4 games, 6-0. How you feeling? Feel pretty good. We're hanging in there, guys. Great ballpark. Really nice. When you're going, Vince, we're doing the wave here. Look out! Stop it! Stop it! These people go crazy for hot dogs. Hey Vince, they got the roof open today. Check that out. Hey Brody, you got your hat signed. Show me. Who signed it? Oh, very cool. Bernie Brew's wearing his Easter attire. There's your Here they come.
It's the hot dog and the bratwurst and the chorizo. These boys, they swirl around home plate and gets up there to tag it to the mini sausage racers. All right, they're racing. But the chorizo has this one well in hand.
I got a question for you, sir. Who do you hate more, the Cardinal fans or the Cub fans?
Cub fans,
Cub, and why is that?
because they suck.
All right, sir. Hey, what's your favorite podcast, sir?
One card, one cub, and one beer.
And why is that?
For that one guy you said,
Vince Hopper.
Vince Auburn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. All right.
Wasn't that fun?
Woo, man, fantastic.
Wasn't it awesome to relive that again?
Oh, yes.
JJ, tell me what's going on in Cardinal land.
Well, you know, everybody's panicking. Not everybody, but the loud minority is very vocal right now. That first week, you know, we took 2 out of 3 against Toronto, and then we got swept by the Braves. So 2-4. So we go on the road. We're going to Milwaukee, then we're going to Colorado. And hopefully everything, new scenery, maybe things will change. Well, you know, there's an old adage, if you win on the road and you play 500 ball on the road, and when the series is at home, you'll be like 94 wins at the end of the year. And, you know, being 2-4 is not the end of the world, but we go to Milwaukee, and on that Friday, we go on the road. We lose 4-0 to Milwaukee. We just weren't hitting. They were hitting. They had good pitching, and Milwaukee's got great pitching. Milwaukee had 9 hits, and the Cardinals just had 5. I'm not gonna beat you guys up with all these numbers and everything, but basically, Brandon Woodruff just didn't have it. He went 5 1/3, 4 Ks, 2 walks. It just wasn't very good. Arenado went 2 for 4. We're hitting. We've got guys that are hitting, but the Brewers were just hotter and better. Willie Adonis had a home run, and the fans seem to love him up there. And Yelich looks better. We talked about if the Brewers are going to do good, Yelich is going to have a good year, and he's looking much better fielding and hitting. and Packy Naughton was taken out of the game with shoulder stiffness, so that's not good. I will say this: I think our hitting has been very good, our running's been great, our defense, and our bullpen's great. It's just our pitching, our starting pitching. They can't keep us in the game so far. So now we're 2-5. That's pretty rough. But game 2, the Saturday game, we went to the roof is closed, and Jordan Montgomery goes 7 innings and does not give up a run. We needed that start so much. Our bullpen got to rest a little. He had 9 Ks and 2 walks. We had home runs by Arenado, his 301st, and Jordan Walker got his 2nd home run. And I tell you what, Vince, it's a pleasure watching this young kid play. He's looking beyond his years with his at bats. The only thing is he's a free swinger. He don't take any walks. He's either getting put it in play or strike it out, but he's going up there swinging at bat. I appreciate that. Zach Thomas and Verhagen had 2 shutout innings in the bullpen. Our bullpen, like I said, looked good. They had 43,000 people that packed that house because of the Greek Freak jersey they were giving away. And Arenado hit his 300th home run last week. And the list of Major League Baseball players with 300 home runs and 10 gold gloves is very short. So I'm going to list these guys. It's a very short list of guys that have 300 home runs and have 10 or more gold gloves. Johnny Bench, Hall of Famer. Ken Griffey Jr., Andrew Jones, a possible Hall of Famer there. Al Kaline, Willie Mays, Pudge Rodriguez, and Mike Schmidt, and now Nolan Arenado. So that's pretty cool company to be in right there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's pretty much it right there on the Saturday game. So we got to win. I'll tell you what, we'll take one any way we can get it because it's been rough. Well, then Sunday comes the rubber game. The Brewers are the first place team. I saw a lot of trucks out there that had a pole and it had a flag of every team, and the Cardinals were at the bottom because we're in last place, and the Brewers were up there at the top. So I was like, oh, that's pretty embarrassing, man. We got to get going. Easter Sunday, the Brewers beat us 6-1, and we really weren't in that game. The Milwaukee had 11 hits to our 6. Woodford pitched that game and had 3 earned runs, and Palante had 3 earned runs, and we couldn't stop Willie Adonis. That guy was 3 for 4, hit a home run and a double, and had 3 RBIs. And I'm telling you what, that guy's a very, very good player, and he plays with like Fernando Tatis Jr., like pizzazz. A lot of kids were standing up with their jerseys with his name on the back, and he'd give them a thumbs up and point to him and stuff. It was really cool seeing that. Even though I'm a Cardinal fan, I appreciate that fandom right there. And also, Jordan Walker tied. We had an outfielder named Sierra in 2017 that started his career with, I believe that's 9 hits in a row to start, in 9 consecutive games, a 9-game hitting streak to start his career. But Sierra was an older player that also put him 1 game behind Mr. Ted Williams for second all-time 20 or younger for a batting streak, which is very, very cool. So anyway, and Kisner was in the game, and I'm telling you what, he's just not hitting a lick. I think he's hitting like 125. He had 3 at-bats, and he had 3 strikeouts. The guy next to me said, is he going to strike out swinging or what? Looking at it this time. I said, looking at it. Sure enough, he struck out looking at it. So we need Kisner to get going, and Contreras is not hitting much better. I think right now he's hitting like 190, so we've got a curse on our catchers right now, but I know Contreras will hit. I know he will hit. So, my gosh, man, after 3 series, we've only got 3 wins, and that's pretty rough. So we go out to Colorado, and the first game out there, we lose 7-4. And it's just, man, I'm telling you what, Cardinal Nation, you listen to any of the talk shows, or like Vince said in these podcast or these chat rooms, they're just screaming about our starting pitching, and they should right now. It's not the end of the world because I do believe in these guys, but they're just not getting it done, except for Montgomery, who's 2-0. Anyway, we lose 7-4. Matz, he goes 5 2/3, gives up 6 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, and the Cardinals commit 2 errors. And up to that point, we had went about 4 games in a row without an error, 5 games in a row without no errors. So 2 errors in that game. And I don't know about you, Vince, but when you're in Colorado, I know it's an optical illusion, but the infield just seems bigger and the outfield seems bigger. It seems like balls can just trickle through the infield that doesn't in other ballparks. I don't know what it is, but just seems like there's so much area and there's always just a little, you just can't quite get to the ball. I'm not making excuses. We got our butts kicked, but anyway, Goldschmidt went 2 for 3. And I tell you what, Goldie's been fantastic this year. He had 2 RBIs in that game. And in that after that game, he's in a cool 361. Doing good. Walker got another hit, so he tied Ted Williams. That's fantastic. And then Nolan Gorman, who he's been a bright spot. That kid last year, it was really his rookie year, and he has picked it up. He's not striking out nearly as much, and he's putting the bat on the ball. So right there, we've got 3 wins and 7 losses, and it's looking rough. Then we play Tuesday, and we're down 6-2. But in the 7th inning, we come up with 4 runs tied up, and we get 3 in the 9th, and we win that sucker 9-6 over the Rockies. And I'm telling you what, Vince, we needed it so bad. I didn't care how we won. We got a victory. Okay, things are looking a little bit better. In that game, we were facing their ace, Freeland, who was 2-0 with hadn't given up a run all year. And you know, that's the crazy thing about baseball. We ended up getting the win right there, and we took it. Let's see. Michaelis did not pitch very well. 5 innings pitched, 10 hits, 6 runs scored. His ERA has come down to a cool 10.05 this year. Good Lord, that is horrible. But our bullpen was great. 4 innings, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts, no runs. And they held the fort, and our hitting came through. In Colorado, there's no lead safe. Either team can score quickly and a bunch of runs. So we got so today we played the 3rd and final game, and I'm glad to say the Cardinals won that game. Let's see, I got my notes over here. Vince, I had them written down. Let's see. We won 7-4. Nolan Gorman hit his second go-ahead home run in 2 days in a row from the 8th inning on. And like I said, that's his 4th home run. He's leading the team in home runs, and he's playing a good defense. Been a big part of the team. Helsley got his 3rd save. Jordan Walker got his 12th hit in a row. And there's a guy he tied named Eddie Murphy. Not the Eddie Murphy. Yeah. Honest Eddie from
Donkey.
Not Donkey. From 1912 Philadelphia A's. And he had 12 hits in a row, and now Jordan Walker has 12 hits in a row for a player 20 or younger and their first 12 games of their career. So that's fantastic. It's fun to see him. It was a broken bat single that just got past the shortstop. So that was fantastic, and he was hustling all the way. That was good to see. Flaherty looked better, which isn't saying much. He didn't set a very high standard, but the first game he walked 7. I think the next game he walked 5, and today he walked 1 with 6 strikeouts and went 5 1/3. And Arenado hit a home run, and Goldie's hitting 364. Arenado's got 13 RBIs. Gorman's got 10. And if the Reds lose tonight, the Cardinals have moved from 5th to 4th. So calm down, Cardinal Nation. Calm down. We're on a roll. 2 in a row. We're coming home to play Pittsburgh. So, of course, I don't know if you want to talk about O'Neill Cruz, one of their stars, is out for a long time now. He got hurt on a slide at home. So hate to see that. I'd really like to see O'Neill Cruz play. But that's how it is in Cardinal land right now. We're 1-2 in a row, and we took the series from the Rockies.
We got great news today. Ian Happ signed an extension, 3 years, $61 million. So our top 4 in the lineup, Horner, he's been signed to an extension. So we've got him for at least 4 more years. Second, Swanson, we have him for 7 years. Third in the lineup, Happ, we have him for this year and then 3 years after that. And fourth, Suzuki, we have for another, I think, 5 years.
That's fantastic, man.
So we have locked down the core of not just our offense, but also our defense. So I'm very happy with that. And now the other players that we have, the Hosmers, the Mancinis, the Wisdoms, people like that, we can do what Houston did a few years ago when they first started coming up. They had Luis Valbuena at third base. Gosh, who else did they have? They had Colby Rasmus in center field. They had these core players coming up that they knew were very talented, like Correa. But they kind of piecemealed the other positions until these talented minor leaguers came up and took their place. And now that's where, look where Houston is now. And that's kind of like where I see the Cubs right now. We are locking down those that are in the majors already, who we feel are going to be contributors, and those that are in the minors, we're just kind of biding our time. Bellinger is not our center fielder of the future. He's just holding a place right now, which is okay. Hosmer, Mancini, they're not our first base / DH of the future. They're just manning the positions right now. Wisdom may be in the long-term plans. He's good if you're going to have a really good team, get that 7th, 8th, 9th place hitter with a lot of power. He can do that as long as he keeps catching the ball third. He has looked much better this year. It's weird. 2 years ago, he looked really good as a defensive third baseman. Last year, he forgot how to play defense. This year, he's looking much better again. So very excited about the Hap extension. And Saturday, this past Saturday, the Cubs assigned Seiya Suzuki and Brendan Hughes to Iowa for rehabilitation. Suzuki has been playing. He homered today to deep center, and hopefully we're going to see him in the lineup when we get to LA this weekend to play the Dodgers. As far as Brendan Hughes goes, I haven't really heard if there's any kind of a date. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, we did not bring a left-hander out of the bullpen north with us. He's our left-handed option. We are using Mark Leiter Jr., who's got great splits and works really well against left-handers, and he's been doing a fantastic job. But it will be nice to have Hughes come in as a left-handed option. On Monday, we optioned Javier Assad to Iowa, and we brought up Nelson Velasquez, which we really needed because I was sick of watching Trey the Butcher Mancini in right field. We were watching the game on Easter, and there was a ball that was hit, little line shot, wasn't hard hit, and he took like a step or two backwards and then ran up and the ball dropped in, and just drove me nuts. But anyway, we brought up Velasquez to play right field, and I'll get to that. This week we did go 4-2, very good. We were 2-1 against the Texas Rangers. On Friday, we won 2-0. Stroman pitched 6 shutout innings. Fulmer came in and got the save. Very good win. Texas, I have them picked to make the playoffs this year. So I was really happy that we got a win first game of the series. On Saturday, we won 10-3. The Rangers looked terrible. They committed 5 or 6 errors. I mean, they'd had 2 the whole season coming in. They just looked terrible. Wisdom and Gomes both homered, and when Yan Gomes hits a home run, you've done something wrong to anger God, because Yan Gomes just is batting like 125 this year. Justin Steele pitched 6 innings of 1-run ball. He got the win. On Easter Sunday, we lost 8-2, and we had the game on, and me and Max were watching it. But we had family over and stuff, so it wasn't really paying as good as attention as we usually would. But Tyone got the start, and he gave up a lot of softer hits. There was like I said, the Mancini thing where he just pitched to a lot of bad luck. So Tyone this year in his first 2 starts has a 7 ERA, but his FIP, which for those of you who don't know what FIP is, that is what your ERA should be based upon how you're pitching, taking away like lucky hits and softballs, balls that should have been caught or whatever. His FIP is 2.07. So he should be pitching to an ERA of 2. It's at 7 right now. So he's had some really bad luck. The only good news about the Easter Sunday game is Rios hit a home run, and very happy to see that. We are 10 games into the season almost, and Rios has barely played. I don't know why we took him north with us if we're not going to play him. But
Right.
when he's in, he hits. But sometimes Ross, I don't understand what he's doing. So Monday, we have the excuse me, the Mariners coming into town. And on Monday, we won the game 3-2 in 10 innings. We were facing their ace. Shoot.
Is it
Yeah.
Kirby? It ain't Kirby, is
No,
it?
the guy from the Reds last year.
Luis Castillo? Yeah.
Castillo. Gosh, I brain cramp there. We faced Castillo, so we had Smiley going. Smiley looked terrible in his first start. Smiley pitched great. 5 innings of 1-run ball, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, and he was vintage John Smiley, getting that curve where he wanted it. We scratched off a couple of runs against Castillo, and they tied the game 2-2. So won the 10th, and in the 10th inning, Nico Horner, he walks it off with a single. And this is after Nick Madrigal stole third base. He was picked off. The pitcher disengaged. Madrigal sprints to third, and it's like the pitcher brain cramped. What do I do? And by the time he threw it to third base, Madrigal was in. So, and then we got the hit to win the game. So we're up 1-0 on a very good Mariners team. A lot of people picked them to go deep into the playoffs, and we've beaten their ace. On Tuesday, this may be the game of the season.
Okay.
So I turn on the game, and I'm excited because Wisniewski's pitching. We were down 7-0 in the second inning. So I'm not happy, but I'm at least still watching the game. In the third, we score 8 runs, highlighted by Nelson Velasquez, that guy we just brought up on Friday or on Monday, when he hit a grand slam to put us up 8-7. Wisniewski did not make it out of the second inning. He did have some bad luck. There were a couple of errors. Swanson made an error when he tried to flip the ball to Horner for a double play, and out of his glove, it just kind of flicked high and went over his head. Also, there was a hard hit ball to Iron Hands Mancini, who's playing first, and I don't know why he's playing first. On strat baseball, fielding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, what's he?
You want a 1 or a 2 to have a good defender. You don't want a 3, but you'll put up with that. You don't want a 4, and you never want a 5 in a position. Mancini is a 5 in right field or at first base. And I don't get, Mancini played first Monday and Tuesday, and Hosmer, who has 4 gold gloves on his shelf, was DHing those games. Like I said, I don't know what Ross is doing. But anyway, Wisniewski did have some bad luck because Swanson had the bad flip and Mancini can't catch a baseball. So we did come back, and we're winning 8-7. And Swanson, he went 4 for 4 that game and had that 4 for 4 by the 5th inning. And then he kind of took himself out of the game, and people were nervous. Was he hurt? What had happened was his wife, Mallory, plays professional soccer for the Chicago team, and she's gearing up for the World Cup, and she blew her knee out. So he had been at the hospital since 4 that morning while she was having surgery. Had a full day, a lot of stress when your wife's having surgery, the mental anguish, because, you dream of playing in the World Cup, and it looks like that's not going to happen. It's a traumatic day. He shows up at the ballpark. He goes 4 for 4. This is a guy who played 162 games last year. Year before that, played 160 games. He does not take himself out of games. So he took himself out of the game, and he did show up today, but Ross gave him the day off, which I think he really needed.
I agree.
So we ended up winning this game 14-9, and it was just one of those emotional games. And it's funny because we're down 7-0, and we make it 7-4, and then Velasquez hits the grand slam, and I text Max, and I texted my dad, wow, and Max, I turned the game off, so we'll turn it back on. It's really cool. So So after that emotional win, today we lost 5-2. Stroman pitched 6 strong innings. He only gave up 2 runs, but he looked really good. He did take a loss. He's now 2-1, but he's only given up 2 earned runs all season in 24 or 18 innings. So he's pitching to an ERA of about 1 right now. Bellinger drove in both runs with a sacrifice fly and a home run. He's leading our team with 10 RBI, so he's off to a good start. And Jared Kelenic, I'm glad he's out of town because in all 3 games, even though we beat them the first 2 games, he hit BBs out of the yard, but they were completely dwarfed by what he hit today. He hit a 482-foot shot. Jim DeShace, who's been doing Cub games for 10 years, said, that's the first time I've seen one out there. And then they asked Pat Hughes, have you seen any balls out there? Because Hughes has been doing the Cub games since the 90s. He said, very few, like Sosa, the steroid era. So Jared Kelenic seems to have found it out. He's hitting great this year, and I'm so glad that he's out of town because, man, he's heating up. So we for the week, we were 4-2 against 2 teams, one a playoff team last year, one that I think is going to be a playoff team this year. And our schedule has been brutal. We started with the Brewers. We did have the reprieve against Cincinnati where we went 1-1 and had a rain out. And then it was the Rangers, the Mariners, and then we go to Los Angeles.
Ooh.
Then we have San Diego. We have Seattle. We have to go to Seattle. And somewhere in there, we do have Oakland thrown in, I think, at the beginning of next week. But our first part of the schedule is brutal. So if we can tread water, keep a few games around 500, we have a pretty good shot of being much better in the second half than, the summer on than we do in the spring. I guess it's the spring, early summer. So if we can just get through this, I'm pleased with the pitching. I am terribly surprised that we have had games where we've scored 12 runs, where we've scored 14 runs, where we scored 8 runs. Our offense has been much better than I anticipated, and we haven't even had Suzuki in the lineup, and he is, I'm pretty sure he's our best hitter. So
he's a good player.
Yeah, a lot of optimism there. So
Vince, I got about 3 statistics here, team stats, because I was hearing so much negativity about the Cardinals. I wanted to see where we ranked. And after Tuesday's game, I went through and looked up team hitting, team pitching, and team fielding. And this is what I saw. The Cardinals and team hitting, we're the 3rd best hitting team in the National League with a 286. But care to guess who the number 1 hitting team is?
The Braves?
The Chicago Cubs.
Really? We're number 1?
You guys are hitting 290. Yeah, the Cubs are hitting 290. The 2nd best hitting team in the National League is the Phillies, and then we're 3rd with a 286. So, I'm just like, okay, our hitting's good. We're up there with the big boys. Team pitching, the Cardinals are tied for 11th. Now, I thought we'd be 15th. Our bullpen's saved our butts, but our starting pitching's been horrible. But this is staff, starters, and bullpen. We're tied with 11th with the Nationals with the best pitching. The top pitching team is
better hope that don't last.
The top pitching team is the Milwaukee Brewers. They're pitching. Let's see, with a 2.51 team ERA through Tuesday night. That's a great ERA. And the Cubs are 2nd with a I believe it's a 3.90 or 2.9. It's 2.9.
We're number 2.
Yeah, 1 hitting, 2 pitching. So no wonder you guys are looking fantastic. Then the fielding, because I thought, the Cardinals are pretty good fielding. We're tied for 5th with like 3 teams, but the Cubs are 14th in the National League in fielding right now. But
that's because we put Mancini in the field.
Iron Fist Mancini out there. If you took him off there, you guys probably be about 5th in the league.
He's played the outfield before.
Yeah.
Now, I understand the wind blows and everything in right field in Chicago. It's a very difficult field to play. It's the most difficult field to play in baseball, right field in Wrigley. But But when there's a simple line drive that's not hard hit and your first step is back and you're what 30 something years old and you've been playing baseball all your life, I don't see any excuse for that. That's just like saying, I want to be a designated hitter. I'm going to play myself into being the designated hitter.
He's almost there.
So yeah, I'm so happy Suzuki's coming back because he's won his Gold Gloves in Japan. He's had a year of playing in Wrigley and right. Center field Bellinger, former Gold Glover. Left field Hap's a Gold Glover. We got Swanson. We got Barnhart, who won Gold Gloves, and Horner, who's been a Gold Glove finalist. So up the middle in the outfield, really good.
Looks good.
We got Hosmer when he plays first. He's a former Gold Glover. He's not what he was, but he's better than Mancini. Wisdom, if he continues to play, I'm pretty happy with that. I know some of our issues. Neither catcher have looked really great as far as receiving. There's been some balls that have went by that they should have caught, but Gomes has gunned out a few runners this year, and for any catcher, that's gunned out a few runners already in the season we're having now. That's pretty good. So, yeah.
All right. Well, things look good. Both teams are doing okay. It's you guys better than us right now, but it's going to be okay.
Yeah, baseball used to call this, you wanted to get the first 2 weeks, that's called getting out of the blocks. It's a track term where you set up the sprint and you have the blocks that your feet are resting in so you can pop out and get to maximum speed within a few steps. And both teams have gotten out of the blocks okay. I mean, they haven't screwed themselves. Right. Now, if you really want to see what's good to get out of the blocks, the Rays, start off 12-0 or 13-0. They may have.
Oh my gosh.
That's stupid. Yeah, that's just stupid. But or you can be like the A's or a team that just, might as well not even join the race. That'll watch us lose 2 or 3 in Oakland.
Oh yeah. Baseball is a crazy game. Nothing's for sure. Statistics are fun, but they don't mean nothing once the game starts. Anything can happen.
Yeah, well, we're gonna spotlight a few classic players, and JJ, you're going to spotlight the redhead, and I'm going to do a surprise. Who wants to go first?
Vince, why don't you go first? I like your style. You're a good storyteller.
I still have Kerry Wood and his information, but I decided to table that because I got a message asking me who a certain player is. Who is this player that I keep bringing up? Who is this legendary player? Who in the heck is BB Richards?
BB Richards. BB Richards.
Okay, I'm going to spotlight BB Richards, and I'm going to show him some love. And we have maligned him on this show. We've kind of teased him a little bit. Just a little bit. And he has been maligned in his career for those of us who are aware that BB Richards had a career. However, I thought I would spotlight him so you can see where I'm coming from when I make these BB Richards jokes or references. He was born Lee Edward Richards on September 18, 1948 in Louisiana, and he played in all or parts of 5 seasons with the Chicago White Sox, so I feel like I can cheat a little bit here because I'm doing Chicago, and he played his last year with the St. Louis Cardinals. He was primarily a shortstop, but he was not a good defender. In fact, he was a terrible defender. Later, they tried him at first base, at third base, a little bit of second base, and they even tried a little bit of outfield. He had a lot of speed. He was athletically just a tremendous player, but he couldn't put it all together. After the 1975 season, he was traded from the White Sox to the Cardinals for Buddy Bradford and Greg Herlihy. Do you remember Buddy Bradford or Greg Turlicki?
Buddy Bradford, I remember the name. The other guy, the first time I ever heard of him, right
Okay.
here, right now.
Well, as you can see, we got BB Richards for these, or the Cardinals got BB Richards for these two gentlemen. At least I know who BB Richards is. So I mean, look at that. Um, in 1975, December 12th, the Cardinals traded for BB Richards. They also had acquired former Cub All-Star shortstop Don Kessinger. And their plan was to have Kessinger be their shortstop, but BB Richards was going to spell him quite a bit because Kessinger was getting older. So somehow on opening day, when Schoendienst did the lineup, Schoendienst decided he was going to start BB Richards on opening day. Now, here's your backup shortstop to Don Kessinger, a former All-Star, and he's batting second in this lineup. And this had Cardinal fans at the time kind of scratching their heads of, well, who's this guy? Why is he playing short? But anyway, we can ask Red when you do Red, hey, why'd you do that? But anyway, Lee got his nickname BB, not from running fast, even though he could run fast. He was a pitcher when he was growing up, and he threw the ball very hard. And they said that he threw the ball like a BB, so that's how he got the nickname BB. And then he attended Southern University, and that's where he converted to shortstop. Most people don't know this. In fact, most people don't know who he is, so nobody really knows this. But BB Richards was a first-round draft pick from the Chicago White Sox in 1970, and that was like the sixth pick of the draft. That's how highly thought of he was. It was a little bit different. The draft had only been around for like 4 years, and some teams did not really scout well. It's not like today where hey, you're drafting guys in the first round. They're pretty much guaranteed to have at least a solid major league career. Not always, but pretty much so. In those days, it was much more of a crapshoot. So after watching BB Richards work out, BB Richard, I keep calling him Richards. His last name is Richard. My ex-wife's maiden name was Richard, so I shouldn't say that. So but anyway, after watching Richard work out, White Sox coach Luke Appling, who was a Hall of Fame shortstop himself, said that he's got good hands and he'll be a good one. Luke was wrong, okay? But part of it may have been that he was rushed because he was just drafted in 1970. He's only 22, and the White Sox had him make his major league debut just a year later, April 7th, 1971, and he was the starting shortstop and leadoff batter and against the Oakland A's. And in that game, he did single twice off of Catfish Hunter. So, that's one thing you can tell his grandkids.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem, there's a great quote by the former football coach Dave McKay, who was with USC, and then he coached the Buccaneers the first few years. And they were interviewing him after a game. This is when Tampa Bay was terrible. And he said, we didn't tackle very well, but we made up for it by not blocking either. So even though BB couldn't hit, he made up for it by being a terrible fielder. He committed 26 errors his rookie year in just 68 games at shortstop. And so he kind of went up and down from the majors to the minors over the next few years. He spent 4 years with the White Sox, and Harry Carey was then the announcer, TV announcer, color guy for the Cubs. And he called Richards, BB Richard the juggler, because of him bobbling balls. And one day after Richard had committed a pair of errors, a hot dog wrapper blew on the field, and Richard picked it up. And Harry quoted, it's the first thing he's picked up all night.
Oh,
Players he didn't like, by the way. So on April 9th, the Cardinals, they opened their season opener against the Cubs, and Red Schoendienst posted the batting order. Batting first was Lou Brock, secondly Richard, third McBride, fourth Simmons, fifth Reggie Smith, sixth Keith Hernandez, seventh Hector Cruz, eighth Mike Tyson, who went on to have a great boxing career, and pitching that day was Lynn McLaughlin. So McLaughlin retires the first two hitters of the game, and Bill Madlock comes up the bat and he hits a ground ball, simple ground ball to Richard, and he looted the ball. So his first chance with the Cardinals was an error. Um, Richard did get a single that day and 4 at bats, and the Cardinals won 5-0. And then the next day, the world kind of came into alignment again, and Kessinger was back at shortstop. So in 13 games, 6 as a starter at shortstop for the Cardinals for the first part of the season. BB committed 4 errors, and by July 15th, his batting average was .059. But he rebounded and he finished the season with a batting average of 176, and he had 1 stolen base. And then they released him after the season, and he never played big league ball again. Just a few stats. He was a career .209 hitter. Even though he had great speed, he stole 12 bases in his career. He was caught 12 times. So even though he had great speed, he was not a great base stealer. He did hit 2 home runs in his major league career. And defensively, he had a fielding percentage of .923, which is pretty atrocious for, I was going to say fielder, but for a baseball player, that's pretty atrocious, unless you're like in Little League. So we've kind of had a little bit of fun at Mr. Richards' expense. But he is still alive, 74 years old, and he can say something that none of us say. He did have a big league career. He was a #1 draft choice. He hit couple of big league home runs. He stole some big league bases. He got hits off Catfish Hunter. He's got some things that he could tell his grandkids. So when I've made my references to BB Richard, just joking around, that's who I'm talking about.
All right.
BB Richard.
I love it. I love it when you cover not the superstar players, but just a player that was in the that was out there, because I learned a lot. A lot of people messaged me about your stories about Dave Kingman. That was one of their favorites they did, because a lot of that stuff we didn't know. And I'll tell you what, BB Richards, I hardly knew much about him except he played for the Cardinals. That was it. So I appreciated that one.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, I have.
Tell me about a Hall of Famer.
Well, these are kind of easy to do because Red Schoendienst, I love this guy. I got this signed. He actually was at a card show, and he was a coach for the Cardinals. He wasn't the manager. This was more like the Joe Torre years. And he had to get back to the ballpark, but there was about 50 people in line. And he said, no, I'll stay here and get these signed, and then I'll have to go. So we'll just make it snappy and I'll sign everything. So he signed a couple cards and this picture for me. And it's Albert Red Schoendienst. And of course, he's the old redhead because he had red hair. I have a couple cards here I'd like to show. These are some of my tobacco cards from 1952. So Tony Pruno, eat your heart out right here. I got a 1952 Redmond right there. And then I've got the other tobacco. Oh, this is the Redmond. There you go, 1952. Looks more like a drawing. And that's the back of the cards back there in 1952. To me, that doesn't seem long ago, but you know what? That's been a while now, 1952.
70 years.
70 years, I know. But to me, 50s don't, I don't know. I'm just an old, I guess I'm getting old. I was born in 63. So the 50s don't seem that long ago to me.
You are old.
I am old.
I've never seen a person that old. How are you walking around at this age?
I'm a freak, you know. I'm selling tickets. My wife's selling tickets. People can come and like throw some chips at me and I'll eat them. But on the left field wall, he's the second guy on there. Of course, Ozzy is #1 and Red is #2. And these are all the retired numbers of the Cardinals all the way up to Augie, number 85. But anyway, they retired his number. But Red was a baseball lifer. He was in baseball for 76 years, and 67 of them were with the St. Louis. He was in uniform for the St. Louis Cardinals as a player, a coach, and a manager. Now, he's born over in Illinois, your neck of the woods, Germantown. He's an Illinois fella. He got drafted. I'll get to that in a minute. He lived from 1923 to 2018, and he lived 95 years. He was a St. Louis Cardinal. He played 19 years for the Cardinals, 1945, right after the war, through 56. He was traded. We had a general manager who came over here and he traded Red Schoendienst to the Braves, Milwaukee Braves. He traded Enos Slaughter to the Yankees and he was going to trade Stan the Man. And that's when Augie said no, and he fired the general manager. But he came in and he made those two moves. And once they even mentioned Stan in a trade, they said, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, that's when Augie coined the term WTF, the first one to coin that term.
Was that where that came? See, you learned so much on here. Yeah, I know. But
It sounds good.
It sounded great. He also played a few years with the Giants and the Braves, and he won a World Series with the Braves. Red, as a player, was on 10 All-Star teams. He had a lifetime batting average of 289, and he had 2,449 hits. That's fantastic. And he was a second baseman doing all that. A 5-time world champion as a player on the 64 and 67 Cardinals, and he also he was a coach with the 82 Cardinals when Whitey Herzog was the manager. He's in the St. Louis Cardinal Hall of Fame, and he was inducted to Cooperstown in 1989. He went in the Army in 1945, but he got a medical discharge after he suffered an eye injury and some trauma from firing a bazooka. I've never fired a bazooka, but I'm sure it's a pretty traumatic thing to do. So he spent about a year in the armed forces, and then he went to the minors and became a baseball player. Red came up as a shortstop, but the Cardinals had Marty Marion, one of the all-time Cardinal greats, and so they made him a second baseman, and he was a second baseman from that moment on. And over 12 years as a manager, I'll be honest, I started being aware of the Cardinals in 73, and Red was the coach every year all the way up through, I believe it was 77. And when he got fired, I remember the Post-Dispatch had a picture of him with a box and he's cleaning out his desk. And I didn't think you could fire a manager. I thought it was like the Pope. You were anointed the manager and you were there until the day he died. I didn't know they fired him because Red Schoendienst was with the Cardinals from 64 or no, there's Johnny Southwood, 65, I believe, all the way up to 76. And he's got 1,041 wins and 955 losses. Now, I don't know if Red was a more of a strategist, but he was a calming effect. He was a longtime Cardinal. The players respected him. He had some good coaches on his staffs. And there's a famous picture from Sports Illustrated, 1967, which is one of my favorite pictures. It's the great Cardinal team of 67, and they're all sitting in front of their lockers in street clothes, and their jerseys are hanging in the lockers. And I think it goes from McCarver all the way over to Kurt Flood and Gibson at the end. And then Schoendienst is sitting on a stool there. And I have seen people who have that framed and every player signed underneath their picture. And that's pretty cool. I do not have that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Red was a longtime friend of Stan Musial, and they were lifetime friends. When the Cardinals would go on the road, players they shared a room on the road, and it was always Red and Stan. And the bobblehead they put out as of two of the all-time greats, kind of the two great players of that decade, like the Goldie and the Arenado of those years, Stan and Red. And up until when Stan passed away, I mean, they were always did things together and talked and everything. And one of the years, I think the last year Red played, Stan was the general manager of the team. I think he was general manager for 1 year. But anyway, some of the things Red did in Cardinal history, he is 7th in hits with 1,980. He is 6th in runs with 1,025, 8th in doubles with 352, 7th in games played, and 5th in at-bats. And is there anything else I can tell you about Red? Just go on YouTube, watch him. He wasn't a flashy player, very good fundamentally player, great with the double plays, a good stick. A lot of great memories with him playing. That was before my time, but I went back and just watched the archives of him playing and talked to a lot of the old timers that said, oh, no, he was a very, very good player. So there's not a lot of second basemen in the Hall of Fame. So I think collectively, that's why Red is in the Hall of Fame, as just the years he put in. And there at the end of his years, he was still hitting fungos to the Cardinal outfielders during batting practice, So Red's just a big part of the organization. And that's one thing I love about the Cardinals. We have all these players that spent so many years, not as many as Red, but have been a big part of the family for a long, long time. So that's my report on Red Schoendienst right there.
Yeah, when I was 11 years old, I think, 10 or 11 when he got fired. I was on the verge of turning 11. He got fired the summer of 77. And I grew up in the Metro East area, and I didn't get the Post-Dispatch. We got the Alton Telegraph. And when he got fired, there was not the picture of him taking stuff out. He was looking at a portrait of himself in the office. And I don't know what the portrait of him was as a player or what, but he was looking at that. And I read the caption that he was fired and, he won the World Series, took him to the World Series 67, 68, won the World Series. I started crying. So that's one of the few times that something like that in baseball brought me to tears. And that didn't happen again probably until Field of Dreams. So
you're a good man, Vince. You're a good man.
So yeah, he was a St. Louis institution.
Really was.
He was the Ted Drews of baseball. Well, JJ, what are you opening up?
Oh, I'll be doing this one for a while. The 2023s. Julio Rodriguez on there. Yeah, the 2023 top.
I'm still doing these 87 Dodgers. I've got 4 more of these left. So we'll be doing that for another month. So
well, let me straighten these bad boys out and see what we got here. Well, we saw this card last week, Dylan Cease. Yeah, that's like a bad. Yeah, I know. I keep
just recycling the cards, saving some money.
I just opened up the pack,
keeping them shut.
Well, you know what? This was in last week's pack too. Shane McClanahan from Tampa Bay. Yeah, what the heck? And you know what? We talked about this guy too. I don't know. They see me coming and just they got all the good. Well, I won't say that, but Ian Happ with his home run swing. There he is.
The 20 million a year man.
That's right. Giovanni Gallegos of the Cardinals, who pitched today and did he's looking much better this year. Looking good. I just hope Ollie don't run him into the ground. Let's see here. Oh, you talked about this guy. This is a new card. We haven't seen this one. You've talked about this guy, though. Aaron Ashby.
Oh, yeah.
His father pitched the big league, the first place Brewers, but it won't be for long. Cubs and Cardinals are coming on your tails, guys. I saw this guy pitch in Kansas City last year, Brad Keller.
Yeah.
Got the ball in flight right there.
Yeah, his wife, she doesn't talk much. Her name's Helen.
I have a terrible Helen Keller joke. Should I tell it?
I don't know. Is it family friendly?
Yeah. Did you know? Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. No, yeah, I can't do it.
Those of you who would like to hear or to know the transcript of the Helen Keller joke from JJ, just send your request to onecard1cup1beer@gmail.com and we will answer it.
Yes. Oh, I want to so bad. Okay. Catcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Roberto Kelly. Right there.
There you go.
Yes. Let's see. Who the heck is it? Oh, Adrian Hauser from the Brewers. He has done very good this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. And he's got the Brew Crew shirt on, just like I got over here. Okay. Seattle Mariner catcher, Kyle Riley, future star. Right there. Let's see here. Oh, New York Mets, Starling Marte.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, and there's some teams that the Phillies haven't got out of the blocks good either, guys. All you Cardinal fans out there getting crazy. Nolan Gorman, I tell you what, he's looked so good this year. He's looking fantastic. Let's see. Cleveland Guardian. I'm just now getting where I can say Guardian. It took me about a year to learn that. Oscar Gonzalez of the Cleveland team.
Nice.
There you go. Oh, another Guardian, Owen Miller, a first baseman, second baseman. There he is. Okay. And then evidently these chrome ones are worth a little more, but you're going to have to help me with the first name. Torres. Right there. Gravier? I can't say his name.
I can't see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the better players. They threw an old style looking card in there, a Trevor Story of the Red Sox.
Ah.
There you go. And then there's two of these stars of the MLB. One is Rushman from the Orioles.
Oh, yeah.
He's only in the second year, and look at that. They got him featured already. He's a stud. That guy's great.
Yeah.
The future's bright. And, of course, on the front of the card, this kid's also got a superstar of the MLB, Julio Rodriguez, right there. Fantastic.
Glad to see him leave town before he hurt us. So
I feel the same way, Vince. We didn't have to face Corbin Burns. We got out of Colorado with 2 out of 3 wins, and they really didn't get clicking yet. So we'll take our 2 and 3 and get the heck out of there.
Okay, I'm going to open up the 87 Dondurus. Oh, and one of the reasons I love opening up the old cars is because I got a chance to get a Hall of Famer. That's kind of cool.
Oh,
and
yeah.
once more, we got a puzzle piece, Stan the Man.
Stan the Man. Here.
Oh, we had this guy a few weeks ago. We know his brother, John Catfish. This is Kevin Bass.
Big man.
I should have said John Crappie. So, but anyway. Former White Sox outfielder, good 4th outfielder, Jerry Harrison.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been around the league a while.
Former Ranger, Sean Hilligus.
Not much about him.
I remember the name. This guy had a solid career, played for the Rangers, Mariners, and I think the Guardians, Pete O'Brien.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, listen to these home run totals. 18, 22, 23, 23, just very consistent. So, former All-Star center fielder, one of the best defensive center fielders ever. World Series hero for the Toronto Blue Jays. This is when he played for the Angels, Devon White.
Devon White, yeah, very good defensive player.
Former Cardinal, had a season or 2 with the Cardinal, Expo, and Rocky. A lot of people think this should be a Hall of Famer, Andreas Galarragas, the big cat.
Oh, yeah. He was on that Rocky team that they had like 4 guys that hit 30 home runs on that team.
And this is an outfielder for that great team, 1988 Oakland A's team, Mr. Mike Davis.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the pride of Peoria, Illinois. He set a rookie record with let me make sure I get this right. 323 batting average, 207 hits. Now he didn't set the rookie record, but he came close with the hits. Kevin Seitzer, who never matched those numbers again.
I'll be darned.
Yep.
Had a nice career.
Excuse me, I said from Peoria. He was born he's from Lincoln, Illinois, and I should know that. That's where my dad lives. But anyway. This man survived mouth cancer, former Brave, Cleveland Indian, and Los Angeles Dodger, Brett Butler.
Great bunter. Very good bunter.
Oh, and this is one of the wackier players in baseball history, former Dodger, former Cardinal, Pedro Guerrero. Oh, I finally got a Hall of Famer, the greatest leadoff hitter in the history of baseball, Ricky.
Rick the Quick. Oh, yeah. Greatest stolen base guy ever.
Second baseman for the Red Sox, played in the 86 World Series, Marty Barrett. Oh, and here's a guy who is a World Series hero, and every time you see World Series clips, he's going to be a part of that. Kirk Gibson when he played for the Tigers.
Running around pumping that fist. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Vince, we may have not had that moment had we had the pitch clock because he was barely able to get out there.
no. I meant to bring this up. I'm listening to High Heat yesterday,
Okay.
and he had Bob Costas on, and that's the reason why I listen to High Heat because Chris Russo just grates on me. He had Bob Costas on, and they overlaid the pitch clock on that sequence. Never was the pitch clock violated.
Oh, really? Okay.
And even there's only one time when a timeout's called, and that's when Gibson stepped out of the box to reset his thinking, and then he hit the home run on the next swing. So, yeah,
okay. I stand corrected. All right.
That's what I thought, and Casas got on there, and he corrected it. So they just played the game quicker then. They just got the ball and threw it. Here's the guy who was trying to be Dave Kingman, Rob Deere.
Oh, yeah.
And former outfielder, designated hitter. I think he also did some catching for the Orioles. He was coming off a 31 home run season, Larry Sheets.
Oh, nice career. Yeah, nice player.
I got some good players on a Hall of Famer. I'm very, very.
Heck yeah.
One of my favorite players, one of my favorite people, Ricky Henderson, such a character. We're going to get him as a guest sometime, and he will take over the show, and we'll go about 8 hours of just Ricky. Because we got that kind of pull, baby.
We got that pull. We're going to get a player one day. I tell you, we're going to scour the universe. We're going to get a player one day.
So this week we have we'll be in Los Angeles and Oakland. Where are the Cardinals going to be?
The Cardinals come home. We're on a homestand, and we've got the Pittsburgh Pirates for 4 games and the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I don't know. It looks like things are getting a little bit better. Pitching's a little bit better. The bullpen's been great. We're hitting. We're finding out the combinations. Everything seems. Ollie, the last 2 games, has pulled some good strings. Things are going in the good direction. 5-7. I'll take that, and we'll see what's happening.
There is nothing that can reset your pitching like Pittsburgh and Arizona at home. You should reset it there and be fine for the rest of the season. So, well, JJ, you have a good week.
You too, sir.
Next week when we talk, the Cardinals and the Cubs will be fighting for first place, and those Brewers are going to be like 1-5 for the weekend. Yeah, going down now. So we'll see how good that prediction is. But thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.